the Italian ace, Sophia. She kicked out at the start cut wearing bib number 5. She ended last season on a 29-year-old was looking for her first career win at Lake Louise, and guess what? She got it in dominating fashion, skiing a straighter line than everyone else. Goja cruising down the track effortlessly. She clocked a time nearly 1.5 seconds faster than her nearest competition. Marie-Michelle Gagnon led Canada's charge, skiing with bib number 8. The Lac-Etchemin native was looking to kick off the new speed season in style. It was not her finest run in the Rockies, a big mistake halfway down, cost her precious time on arrival. In the end, Gagnon finished 16th, her second best finish in Lake Louise, with her best being 10th. That was back in 2013 in the Super G. So there's your final. Sophia Goja with the first too much snow and the conditions not being safe enough for the men. But this week for the women, so far, so of the season, she is still looking all right. She kicked at number 5.
After a win, how do you carry that kind of success into the second downhill?
Well, once a race is done, the most important day is the next one. So, and I will try to do my thing as good as today. And of course, today I won with 1.5 seconds, but I'm pretty much sure that there is still something maybe in which I can be better. So I will analyze and be focused as I... Thank you.
Will it be another great day for the Azzurri? It's the women's downhill from Lake Louise, Alberta. Scott Russell has the call alongside Olympian Brian Stemmel.
Lake Louise is like the Vanier Cup in that it's part of Canadian folklore, an iconic element of this country's sporting that takes place in the Rockies in a national park is the Canadian destination on skiing's World Cup. It has become the traditional runway for Alpine's legendary figures have raced this spectacular terrain. Freaking great. Lindsey Vonn tamed it, winning the downhill 14 times at Lake Louise. Marie-Michelle Gagnon of Canada knows the two sides of Lake Louise. It led to devastating injury. Now it sustains her career. Michaela Schifrin of the United States is a technical wizard, the best in the business, but she can ski speed and has won here before. Italy's Sophia Goja is rounding into form in the Olympic season. The reigning gold medalist won the first downhill convincingly yesterday. A look at the immediate past champions of the downhill, which has been run for women here since 1989. Yesterday, Sophia Goja's first win at this venue. Nicole Schmidhofer of Austria won 3 of 4 races in 2018-2019. Ilka Stuic, the two-time world champion, won back-to-back races here in 2016. Conditions again fluctuating a bit. They've had a lot of snow. It was clear yesterday. More snow falling today as we go into the gate and you take us down the course.
Okay, number 1, 3 kilometers and 24 meters. About 1:56. That's what Sophia Goja won with the time yesterday. There's Lone Pine on your left, that Lone Pine tree. That section's called that because of that part of the course. Really flat light today, overcast, brilliant sunshine yesterday made it so much easier to see, and this is going to be impossible up here coming into Tickety Chutes, where it's basically one straight shot down the hill. You pick up a whole bunch of speed over that bump, down, come out towards the blue line, get your direction back for this right footer into upper Wee Waxy Flats. Wee Waxy goes all the way down the side, right to the bottom to the lodge, but the racers make a quick, sharp right turn down into Coaches and down into Followay. So these upper turns in Wee Waxy here set you up nicely for a technical section of the course. There's big 3-gate delay, 1, 2, 3 over the waterfall jump, and then down into Fishnet. This is like staring at a brick wall going 100 miles an hour into that blue net on your left. You have to switch your direction quickly. Vidley is a little wide in that section, and then over Followay like jumping off a 5-story building, 500 meters down that slope into Gun Barrel, where you pick up a whole bunch of speed. You'll see your time click up here. Let's see, 1:36. It was up to 1:39 yesterday, so these women are flying on this course. Now you get time to breathe and relax a little bit. A few hummocks and in here. Just across the timing flats into Claire's Corner and down Easy Street down in the bottom when you're finally at the finish. So good looking run from Vidle. She was 10th yesterday, but this looks like a better one today in these dwindling conditions. It started snowing about 20 minutes ago, and I don't think it's going to stop.
All right, number 1 is down. Kira Vidle of Germany, the World Championship silver medalist in the downhill at Cortina. That's the time to beat for now. Early in the going at Lake Louise in the downhill. Ilka Stuic of Slovenia, the 31-year-old from Maribor, a two-time world champion in the downhill. She won in 2017 at Samaritz and again in 2019 at Åre, Sweden.
She has confidence on this course. As you said earlier, won on this track until she had a knee and seemed to slip away. Now she's blamed her equipment last year. Now with the new serviceman trying to figure things out with those skis underneath her feet, it's so important to have the exact same feeling that you have when you won with those skis. So same sharpness, same whack, same feeling that she just hasn't found it over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, that ACL injury was big for Ilka Stuic. It kept her out of the 2018 Olympics in Pyeongchang, and she might have been favored to win the downhill at those games. Missed her chance.
This is so tough right here. This where it gets really technical, bumpy through that section. A little bit more firm than yesterday, but with that flat light, this makes it really difficult to trust that edge when you stick it in the snow and hope it's going to hold. Off the pace. She's a pro. She knows what she needs to do here, but that sometimes your mind and body just doesn't allow you to do it. I'm sure she's gone over video of those winning runs and the training runs where she didn't risk it all, didn't risk her life, she said, but just can't put that hammer down to really throw herself down the hill and be right in there with the best of the world.
Slovenia turning into a great alpine country. The likes of Tina Maze and now currently Ilka Stuic, the two-time world champion. She's across the line at second of Germany.
We are in beautiful Lake Louise, Alberta for the women's downhill. Let's get back to Scott Russell and Brian Stemmel with the call.
Hey Andy, the snow is back, but it can't yet blanket the speed at Lake Louise. They're dialing it up. Yesterday's champion, Sophia of Italy, the Olympic gold medalist, that was her 12th World Cup victory and first win at Lake Louise. Corinne Suter is Swiss speed personified, the 27-year-old from Schwyz came to the World Championships in Cortina riding a high, having won downhill in Super G Crystal Globes the previous season. She dominated the downhill in the Dolomites, winning her first world title. She's a big game player. Suter had been the downhill silver medalist 2 years previously in Åre, Sweden. And here she is at Lake Louise, 27-year-old Corinne Suter in the fast lane.
Straight out of Sunset Jump to Sunset Flats, he's going at about 110 kilometers an hour really quickly in 10 seconds. A little time to breathe through Lone Pine. It's being overcast right now. Suter was 5th yesterday, 3rd up top, so she skied really well up here yesterday. Slower in the middle section of the course, and quick down again at the bottom.
Solidly in the green right now. Been on the podium twice at Lake Louise in 2019. She was 2nd to downhill and was 3rd in the Super G. Equally adept at both of skiing's speed disciplines.
We'll see how she handles these turns coming into Coach's Corner and through Fishnet. She bruised her tibial plateau. It's basically between your femur and your shin bone in a training run in Zermatt. She said she's not completely comfortable with it yet, but wouldn't be here if she didn't trust herself. It's a pretty good line through Fishnet, but maybe a little tentative coming over fall the way down into Gun Barrel here. Whoa, they were tucking through this section of the course yesterday because of that flat light. It's hard to trust yourself.
Consistently out in front of Kira Vidle of Germany, who was the first racer out of the gate. At every split is Corinne Suter, the two-time world junior champion in the downhill and the Super G.
Yeah, and again, losing a little time in the middle, then picking up it again a little time down here. So a similar run to yesterday.
suitor. Nearly half a second better than the German Weidle, who will step aside out of the winner's box right now. And the Swiss star will take over.
Yeah, and that's about a second slower than her run yesterday. So what these women will be feeling is it's actually a little easier because you're going slower. That new snow on the track doesn't allow you to travel at the same speed, but it'll feel faster because you can't see as well.
Well, I want to get this out there right now, Brian. Yesterday, Sophia Goggia blew everybody away with that downhill win. She was just the class of the field and did it with emphasis.
Yeah, about a second and a half, and she knows her best is good enough. Her good is good enough. Heck, she was so far out in front yesterday. But she said she was going to go back, look at some video, some of the mistakes she thought she made, and see where she could make up some more time. But really, she just needs to ski right in that wheelhouse, not really think about anything again except what she does best, and that's going fast.
And the speed is there in spades for Sophia Goggia. And how about this? Since missing the World Championships with that fractured knee, she has a string now of 5 consecutive downhill wins. It was interrupted by that injury, but personally, she's won 5 in a row.
And she wasn't afraid to bring that up right away yesterday. Here's where she made the mistake yesterday. Much smoother through that section of the course, and man, that was good. Watch out now. Watch this speed down in gun barrel that she's going to be able to carry through here. As long as she doesn't kick up too much snow, this should be up in the high 130s. There it is, almost 138 and 3/4 of a second ahead. Not as much as yesterday, but and look at that snow start to come down. Wow, this will be a good run considering the conditions may get worse.
She's dominated Lake Louise throughout. They only got in 1 training run for this downhill. She won that. Then she won the first of 2 yesterday. She's now got 12 World Cup wins, and Goggia in the driver's seat again.
You weren't going to get great odds putting money on her today, but pretty much guaranteed a win. I think that was beautiful. Over the bump, up top, coming into tickety chutes, smooth through the midsection of the course, down through fallaway. She had an excellent line down there, really high speeds, and real redemption from her. She tore her left knee in 2013 here, and now has a couple wins. She's never won before, so, well, not now. I assume she's going to win.
Yeah, I mean, it's still early, man, but she looks great. Laura Gut-Barami, she's been on the World Cup forever, it seems, 14 years, started as a 16-year-old, but she struggled in that first downhill yesterday.
That has been reported by Blitz that she's just been vaccinated, now is having breathing issues, coughing a lot, problems getting enough oxygen, but they say that has nothing to do with COVID, although her serviceman did have COVID last season, but she was a little resistant and hesitant to get it. She thought it was a personal matter and was worried about some of the consequences and long-term side effects, but I don't know why she's wearing a mask if she's having breathing problems. But Laura Gut is one of the best, but she is a different kind of cat.
What a great skier, 2016 overall Crystal Globe winner on the World Cup. She was the world champion in a comeback season in 2021. She won the World Championship in the GS and the Super G and won a bronze in the downhill. Really broke out last season, and it is interesting now to see her struggle. Well back, Laura Gut-Barami.
Yeah, it was a resurgence last year, absolutely, for her. She's had a couple seasons up and down. Remember, she was a 16-year-old prodigy, and the pressure hasn't stopped being set right upon her shoulders for a long time. Got married to an Italian soccer player, took up the last name Barami, and kind of changed her attitude last year. But with these issues that she's having physically, loses a lot of energy and strength down at the bottom, and that's just impossible to make up.
Yeah, well, we hope to see her in the Super G tomorrow, where she's a 3-time winner at Lake Louise. But Laura Gut-Barami is well back. And after only 7 skiers, she's 7th.
Yeah, I just found it odd that she's wearing a mask. You know, it's normally freezing in Lake Louise. It will be tomorrow. Minus 22 there tonight. And that's where she made a mistake. Almost went into that net, almost got high-sided. But if it's cold, I say it's like breathing in thumbtacks down your throat. So maybe that's why she's wearing a mask.
Sophia Goggia looking for a downhill sweep at Lake Louise. Andy, she's in great shape right now. The Alpine Azzurri on fire.
BC Sports brought to you by Toyota in Lake Louise, Alberta. It's the women's downhill. The Italian, Sophia Goggia, with the lead. Can anyone dethrone her? Let's find out. Scott Russell, Brian Stelmel with the call.
Great question, Andy. Can anybody catch Sophia Goggia? She's been so great in the first 2 races here at Lake Louise. We're still early in the going, but she does have a big lead. As the United States getting set to go fairly soon. Here's Federica Brignone of Italy, another Alpine Azzurri. The 31-year-old from Milan won the overall Crystal Globe in 2020. She was the first Italian woman to do that, and she's trying to kickstart her season.
Brignone knows this isn't one of her favorite tracks. She's spoken about that. Whoa, man, 126 and almost got high-sided. That's when your leg is too close to your chest and you have no room to absorb those bumps. And stuck her hand in the snow again. Definitely won't be your favorite after this run, but she was 4th in the turns yesterday. Just such an efficient, beautiful turner of those skis. Look at that, nice and smooth, good position. Have to stay forward, and then again dive forward and up high with your hips through this corner. Oh man, that's so good. Really nice, and then maybe we're tuck early.
"16 World Cup wins, 7 of them have come in her favorite, more natural discipline, the giant slalom, but Brignone at one point stood 3rd in the downhill standings at the end of a World Cup season. That in 2020, she was great in that season of 2020.
They're just great all around, but it takes a long time to round into a downhiller. In the late 20s, exactly like Marie-Michelle Gagnon, switched over 5 years ago from slalom and GS. Now she's in downhill and speed, and Brignone looked good, just doesn't quite have those refined, deft touches that you need in downhill when the conditions get a little more difficult.
She was 13th yesterday in the first downhill, 4th right now. Baby steps for Federica Brignone of Italy.
Now her brother David is here with her and says her confidence is growing, but it will grow more and more in GS and Super G. Remember, the Super G tomorrow. A little wide through fishnet, but just such a smooth, dialed-in turn. She knifed that one.
Got a great nickname, Breezy. Born Brianna Noble Johnson from Jackson, Wyoming, and she had a run of podium finishes last season on the World Cup, and she was silver yesterday in the downhill, oft injured. She's been through a lot, Brian.
And the only one who will have a chance to touch Goggia's time. 1.47 seconds back yesterday in 2nd place. Normally that will land you outside the top 10. She hasn't just rounded into a nice downhiller, she's roared into a 3rd place 4 times in a row last year, 5th twice. Wasn't out of that top 5 too much. You can see why, just really good downhill skills. Keeps those arms right in front of her, no wild, crazy movement, just nice and smooth and aggressive. Busted that panel open. She'll be feeling that tomorrow. That arm will be bruised up.
Breezy's had major knee injuries in 2017, 2018, and 2019, and come back strong every time.
Yeah, tibial plateau fracture, 27. Cruciate ligament, 2018. Posterior cruciate ligament, and MCL 2019. So, as Brian Williams would say, you can't say enough about a skier who comes back from a knee injury, and she's second again.
Breezy Johnson of the Romark Ski Academy. A little wave to Sophia Goggia and a bow.
I'm not worthy.
Great race by Breezy.
Well, she knows she was skiing for second, I think. Just trying to stay in touch and no mistakes, but Breezy is just leading this American team now. We'll see Michaela Schifrin a little bit later on. It's a downhiller right now leading the way.
For more of the best from around the world in high-performance sport, tune in again tomorrow for another edition of Road to the Olympic Games. We'll begin with the final World Cup of the season in Big Air. From Colorado, Mark McMorris and Mac. Women's Super G from Lake Louise, Alberta. More Italians. Nadia Delago, the 24-year-old from Brixen. This is the younger sister of Nicole Delago. They come from an Alpine family. Their grandparents skied on the World Cup in the 1980s.
Almost like a pre-jump there, where you jump before the crest of the knoll and land on the back side of it to land on the ground further. You're faster on the ground and downhill. I used to see the crazy Canucks do down here in Double Trouble back in the early 80s. I'm really interested in seeing Nadia down in gun barrel. She had the fastest speed yesterday, 139.18. I want to see if she can bust that 140 barrier. That will put her in good stead. She was 6 yesterday, look out! Whoa, she's on the edge. That's fantastic though, she's just really sticking with it, sticking her nose in there. That takes a ton of courage and bravery. There it is. Now 138, okay, still excellent. Trying to hold a tuck, it's one arm, but that's all right.
Wow, the Italian women have a lot of talent on the way to the Olympic Games in Beijing. Goggia, Marta Bassino, Delago, Federica Brignoni, they are loaded, the Alpine Azzurri. She'll be well back up. Goggia in 4th place. Another good run, and the Italians are celebrating.
Well, she's been improving every run after every downhill. First top 10 was last year. No wonder she's got a smile on her face. Just happy to stay on her feet coming through that section in fishnet where she gets pitched wide, but man, did she just stick with it and stand on that left foot. Didn't give up or quit whatsoever, didn't pitch her ski sideways to slow down, and that's how you're fast and downhill.
Here's an Austrian now, Tamara Tippler, the 30-year-old, and we talked about the Austrians and how competitive it is in speed racing for the women as they try to make the cut for that Olympic team. So many greats have skied here from Austria in the past. Renata Kutschel, Michaela Dorfmeister, Andrea Fischbacher, and Tippler. Well, she was close in both the downhill and the Super G at the World Championships, but really trying to make an impression.
I think she could pretty much ski this downhill with her eyes closed. She's raced here 21 times, debuted here in 2011, was on the podium in Super G in 2015, but has had some knee problems lately and had 5 days of training. That might be the reason she's losing more and more time here, half a second in that middle section. Oh. They call that blue fence fishnet in that turn because there have been a lot of poissons caught in that blue netting. And you just don't want to do it. It's no fun pulling yourself out of that fence.
Keeping it together, Tamara Tippler, 8 podium finishes on the World Cup, hasn't got a win yet.
Yeah, 11 7th yesterday, 5th in the middle, slow at the bottom, just 30th down at the bottom. So you see your skis riding really flat here. That's what you need to do. I like watching that last little section to see how flat their skis are riding there. But like, because of those knee injuries, she hasn't been on snow that often this winter. Those are the results.
Well, Andy, some of the top skiers in the world still to come, including Canada's Marie-Michelle Gagnon, but so far, Goja untouchable. Some big names up top. Here we are back at Lake Louise to take a look at Ramona Siebenhofer of Austria in the women's downhill. Sophia Goja has the lead in this race.
That was really fun watching Broderick on the CBC website, and I happened to be in my truck driving home, so don't tell anybody, I don't want to get any tickets, but I was watching it driving home, pulled into my driveway, and my neighbors wondered why I was screaming, because Broderick just happened to come down at that moment and end up third, so it was awesome.
Meantime, Siebenhofer is chasing Goja of Italy here in the women's race. Native of Salzburg. Both World Cup wins have come in the downhill at Cortina, both in 2019 for this skier, who's been on the podium at Lake Louise before.
She was close yesterday, 4th yesterday. It's not snowing quite as hard as it seemed to be earlier. As each racer goes down, it becomes more difficult because of the ruts and grooves that are formed. Saw a big hole right here yesterday in that turn, but the sled dogs, all the volunteers, net monkeys have done a great job preparing this track perfectly. They've had so much snow in Lake Louise. The powder skiing's fantastic. 4.5 feet in a week. It's a lot to shovel.
Well, the workers' volunteers always get this course in shape. Old reliable Lake Louise. More often than not, it comes through and gets the races in on the World Cup circuit. Ramona Siebenhofer, who was 4th yesterday, currently stands 7th in the second women's downhill.
Pretty good run. Not quite as strong as yesterday, but the Austrians are always in the mix.
Well, nothing like being an Olympic champion in advance of being a World Cup winner. In 2018, snowboard star Esther Ledecka won the Super G of Pyeongchang in what was supposed to be her second sport. And in December of 2019, Ledecka proved it was no fluke by recording her first World Cup podium, a win in the downhill at Lake Louise. Always a pioneer, the first Czech woman to win at Lake Louise. And here she is again, Esther Ledecka out of the gate. And you have to respect an athlete, Brian, who can do two things, more than two things, really, really well.
Yeah, she's just a fantastic athlete and such an all-round skier and snowboarder, and was 12th yesterday, and I think she has the ability to pick it up a little bit today and maybe get into the top 5. She was slower down at the bottom yesterday, 45th in the speed trap, so probably on a different pair of skis today. We travel around with 6, 8, 10 pair of skis, and those servicemen work tireless hours in the wax room. Caught her arm on that gate. And you'll hear her work the whole way down. She is not afraid to let out her emotions.
Comes by her talent honestly. Her mom was a figure skater, dad an accomplished musician, her grandfather an Olympic hockey player. I mean, she really does have an athletic background and has proven that she is a great, great champion.
I really think the snowboarding helps her, Alpine. She takes about 2 weeks blocks in the summer, concentrates on snowboarding for 2 weeks, and then switches over. She said it was too much to carry all the equipment, but because snowboarding is such a carving sport and that parallel GS, she really knows how to put these skis on edge and carve perfectly. Snowboards are much smaller in length than skis, and they're just easier to carve once you just lean forward or lean backwards. And she's found that sweet spot in her skis, but not a factor today, Scott.
Back in 13th place right now, more than 2 seconds off the pace, Esther Ledecka. So, as it stands right now, it's Sophia Gorgia, Breezy Johnson of the United States, and world champion Corrine Suter of Switzerland. 1, 2, 3. Andy, let's get it back to you.
All right, Scott, well, let's get everyone caught up on some Road to the Olympic Games on CBC Sports is brought to you by Toyota. We are in Lake Louise, Alberta. It's the women's downhill race, and this is a mountain with a lot of history. With more on that, here's Kelly Vanderbeek.
Famed Crazy Canuck Steve Podborski finished 4th and Herbert Plank won it. This was in 1980, the very first time the World Cup event was held here at Lake Louise. Since then, it has a long and storied history and has included the women since 1989. Although not the most successful venue for Canadians, for other athletes, this venue has cemented their place in the history books. And no one more so than Lindsey Vonn. Her style, her eye, her physique, everything was custom built for Lake Louise, and she capitalized. 18 victories, and she famously crossed the finish line once, looking up to the heavens, screaming, "I love this place." And it certainly loved her back. Atop that list at 18 victories, next in line, only 12 behind, is Germany's Katja Seisinger. Then you slide down a little further and you'll see 2 names who will be competing today. That's Lara Gudbarami from Switzerland and Nicole Schmidhofer from Austria. They'll be looking to cement another win or 2 if possible. The last time a Canadian stood on the podium here was 2009 with Emily Bryden, and they have yet to have a Canadian in the women's race stand atop the podium. Marie-Michelle Gagnon is the top hope. She's strong, she's fit, she's ready, and anything can happen on race day.
Hey, Kelly, it's been a long 4 years for Canada's Marie-Michelle Gagnon. Homecoming at Lake Louise in 2017 was supposed to be a hopeful transition to speed racing. Instead, a crash left her with a dislocated shoulder, major knee injury. She missed the 2018 Olympics as a result, but Mitch is undaunted, returning to the scene of the suffering to make tracks on the way to Beijing 2022, and here she goes, the 32-year-old Marie-Michelle Gagnon.
Mitch was 16th yesterday and 4th up to the middle section until she made a big mistake in fishnet and fall away. I'm expecting a little more from her today. If she's not in the top 10, I'd be surprised. As an athlete going down, you wish you could hear the people cheering you on, but that wind and helmet just doesn't allow you to do that. The adrenaline pumping through you, wide through that section of the course, but still good, strong turns. I'd like to see her work that ski a little more, put a little more pressure on, get some energy out. Now you just want to be nice and smooth through coaches. This is where she made the mistake coming into this left footer through fishnet. Right here, you got to make a switch forward. See what she does today. Not too bad. A little scratchy, chattered a little bit. Her skis were flapping around, but it was all right.
Left the family home at age 12 to become a ski racer. Her idols are former world champions Melanie Turgeon. She loved Jen Simard and also another great Eric Gay of Canada.
Her fiance Travis Guénon was 3rd yesterday. They've never done well on the same day. Travis was out of it today, so maybe it's Mitch's turn to do something for the family.
I love that indication there. We're going to talk to Canada's Mr. Olympics, Brian Williams, coming up in a few minutes.
Awesome.
What a great guy.
6th. All right.
How about Marie-Michelle Gagnon? Injured here in 17, and she's back in a big way.
That's better.
Yeah, that is better.
Starting to get emotional already. That's excellent. Career best right there for Mitch. Coaches know she has it in her. Fans.
Brian in Canada. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, everybody knows she's got it in her. Now she does too.
Cornelia Hutter of Austria. Only one World Cup win in her career. It came right here at Lake Louise in 2017. That was the year that Mitch was injured.
She was solid yesterday. The entire run, fast in training. She's just really dialed up that confidence and intensity.
Yeah, 7th yesterday. What a great career here at Lake Lou. Been on the podium 5 times at this venue.
Smooth, really delicate touch there. Nice. Really, really good. You don't hear much from her skis. That sounds like a jet, but those skis are staying on the ground smoothly, and she is creating a whole bunch more speed. Can she get close to Goji now? Nobody really has. See if she made up a little time here or she lost some.
They're running 9/10 back at the split of Goji. Rocketing towards the finish line. Trying to catch 149.40 to get on the podium, and whoa, just misses it.
Then her coach.
Yeah, she's happy, the coach not so much.
Not at all.
He's like, Nick Schlecht. You should win next time.
I thought that was great. Skiing so smooth through fishnet and fall away. Confident. Look at her face, just relaxed. Yeah, good reason to smile.
Yeah, the Austrians expect to be on the podium whenever they race. Here's another Austrian, Christine Scheier, the 27-year-old. She's competed at 2 world championships, and we'll go back to what we said earlier. It's so competitive on that Austrian women's speed team.
Well, she's had a few stories here as well. Oh my goodness, I was just going to talk about her falling and tearing her ACL here after she was 7th and 13th in the training. She almost laid it down again, caught that edge. So now she's going to be even more tentative because she had that mistake in an easier section, almost went down. Now she's thinking, if I make a mistake again, I'm certainly going to go down here because it's 10, 15, 20 kilometers faster than the top. Still hanging around. Incredible. What a fighter.
Single victory on World Cup at Alton Mark in 2017. That in a downhill.
Well, I'd like to see her get in there, get some redemption from having suffered those injuries here before after being so good.
Bib number 29 is 5th today. Christine Scheier of Austria. So close to the podium.
Really smooth again. Here's that mistake. Watch this snow snake here. Whoa, hello. Grabs her left ski. See you later.
It's all Sophia Goja all day long at Lake Louise. Looks solid for a 2nd win. Andy? Thank you for this. Thank you for a wonderful career, and we can't wait to see it celebrated at the Grey Cup this year. Congratulations, Brian. You bet, Brian. Thanks so much. Wow, what a great guy. What a great guy, Brian, and so much for Canadian broadcasting and Canadian sport, Brian Williams. Let's take a look at some of the back half skiers here at Lake Louise in the downhill. Here's Michaela Schifrin, the winner of 71 World Cup races.
He should have stayed on to call the end of this race. That would have been great.
He could have done it. He had it all there.
I'm sure. Whoa, Michaela, hang on. Got an edge there. Almost went down. Yeah, he told me once he's got a photographic memory, so he remembers so many things. An incredible Canadian, that's for sure.
Schifrin down in 28th place, a little bewildered, hoping to get some speed points here in that race for the overall Crystal Globe. Now let's get to the Canadian side of the story. We've already seen Marie-Michelle Gagnon have a great run. Here's 25-year-old Ronnie Remy of Collingwood, Ontario, the Alpine Ski Club, trying to bounce back this season.
Just watching for Ronnie to be nice and smooth. Such great skills in slalom and giant slalom. She says she's been on the disco sticks for over a month. That's slalom skis that are 157 centimeters long. Now she's on these 215 centimeter downhill skis, so it makes it a little more difficult to turn, but at high speeds you can use the same skill to cart the skis. She was coached by legendary coach up in Collingwood, as you said, by Jurga Feller. Saw her talent right from the beginning, and he said she can be a little stubborn, but she's a talented competitor and just getting miles in on these downhill skis so she can look forward to the Alpine Combined at the Olympics, which combines her best event slalom with the downhill.
And she's been on the World Cup podium in the combined at Crans-Montana. Second in a combined race there. Skied collegiately for the University of Utah Utes and was an All-American there. Plenty of talent for Ronnie Remy. She's just got to bring it out. Stephanie Fleckenstein of Canada, a 24-year-old from Whistler, British Columbia, three-time All-American at Colorado.
And she's skiing independently for the International Ski Racing Association, not named to Alpine Canada, and it's always tough for the athletes who are kind of in limbo. They get from their provincial team and there's nowhere to go. There's no development team in Canada, so they choose to go to the States and have colleges develop our athletes, and that's what Steph Fleck has done. University of Colorado Buffaloes, as he said. And her parents Cheryl and Steve are at the bottom. Steve was an Olympic sailor. Cheryl was a mountain biker, so good genes there, good athletic skills Steph Fleck has, and won't get into the top 15 here, but she's going to be around in the NORAM races after and throughout the year in Europe trying to make those Olympic Games. It's tough to qualify when you're out there on your own with only a few other racers on an independent ski racing league or ski racing team.
Well, no one knows more about skiing on your own than Candace Crawford, the 27-year-old from the Georgian Peak Ski Club, originally from Toronto. She's the older sister of Jack Crawford, who we saw be the top Canadian at Beaver Creek in the downhill today. The 2014-2015 overall NORAM champion, part of a silver medal winning team at the 2015 World Championships for Canada. However, Candace is skiing as an independent.
Yeah, on the same team with Steph and a couple of the other athletes, and Candace has always had such great skill in Super G and giant slalom. Injuries have held her back a little bit, but Mom Laurel and Dad Angus cheering her on down at the bottom, always supportive. Just on her inside edges a little bit there in that tuck. You can watch, notice the outside of her base is up, not so there. That's nice and flat. Not gonna quite get in the top 30, but again, learning experience for young, inexperienced downhillers.
Final results of the women's downhill at Lake Louise. Sophia Goja back-to-back victories for the Olympic champ. Her first two wins at Lake Louise. Breezy Johnson of USA was silver, second consecutive silver. Corrine Suter is third. Marie-Michelle Gagnon, top Canadian, in ninth place today. Sophia Goja missed the World Championships at home in Cortina with an injury, but Bryant has not missed a beat in her return.
Put on a master class yesterday and again today. Just showed what kind of flair and knack for this course she has, and stuck one in there again.
Downhill World Cup standings, 2 races, 2 wins for Goja, a perfect 200 points. She won the Crystal Globe last season. The oft-injured American Breezy Johnson right behind her in the fast lane. Here's Sophia Goja.
1.5 today, but nearly a second you won by today, and you still had some errors. How do you mentally hit the reset on a track and continue the flow down to the finish?
Well, you know, a good race leave you some good feeling and good vibes, but at the same time, you know that the timing start from zero every day. So you have really to reset, refocus, and approach the new day, forgetting the last one.
Thank you, congratulations.
Thank you.
In the race for the overall Crystal Globe, Michaela Shiffrin continues to lead over Petra Bohova of Slovakia. She picked up a few points so far at Lake Louise and will race the Super G tomorrow. Shiffrin chasing her fourth overall Crystal Globe. All right, here's the podium. Corinne Sutter, the world champion and 2020 downhill Crystal Globe winner, third time on the podium at Lake Louise, Brian.
Yeah, much where she belongs. Up in the top three, she's expecting that from herself because she does that so often.
The United States of America, Breezy Johnson.
Breezy Johnson now has 5 World Cup podiums, and she tends to get them in streaks.
She sure does, and twice 2 days in a row, maybe she'll keep that trend going of second place finishes like she did last year with her third place finishes.
Representing Italy, Forza Italia, Sophia.
And can anyone stop Sophia Goggia? Back-to-back wins, and her margin of victory is impressive.
Yeah, she's a character. They love her on the circuit, love having her around, and those trophies that they have, Ryan Bavin from Invermere, from Bavin Glass, made them look like mountains at the top, and they've burned in, or when the glass is made, burned in the course down the middle, so nice little trophies for the 3 women.
Tomorrow we'll have the Super G.